Hey guys, this is TheEnder, and this is going to be Game 2 from the semifinals match between Hero and Piano. And so yeah, we saw in game number 1, um, we saw a rather bit of a cheesy opener from Piano. However, that being said, I really like it as far as the metagame goes. Um, and you say, what? Metagame? But the idea is, it's a best of 5 series. So it's not just you don't have to take one game off your opponent, and so you want to try something crazy. And I would say it's best to try it earlier rather than later. Um, if you play a long game versus someone and they beat you based on skill in a long game, they might expect you to cheese them next game because it's like you're not good enough to beat them. But you cheese them in game number 1, and even if it works, it might work, it might not. But even if it doesn't work, they're going to be looking over their shoulder every other game for the rest of the series, and that's worth something. So I really like that move by Piano. He rolled the dice, and it worked out really well for him. I mean, of course, as a Zerg, there's not too much you can do in a 8 racks versus 12 hatch situation. You pull the drones, you can try to kill all the Marines before they get to the bunker, but it's still you've got I don't know, maybe a 10% chance or less of being able to do that even with perfect micro. Of course, you can occasionally see the funny games on smaller maps where the Zerg will literally take all their drones and take them all the way to the Terran's base and do some kind of crazy counterattack with drones while Zerglings hold at home. You rarely see that, but when you do, it's a spectacle, but you really don't expect that. But alright, so Hero was going for a rather odd build. He went for a gas trick and now a drone scout. Gas trick is where you put a drone on the extractor so it no longer counts as part of your supply, and then you morph another drone using that one extra supply, and then you cancel the extractor so you get the drone back. So you do lose a few minerals and some mining time, but if you're going for particular build orders, it can help you to get that one extra drone a little bit faster. So he's going for a... Alright, that was weird. So I'm not entirely sure of the build. It was some form of 9 pool. Possibly not a 9 pool, though. Maybe it was like a 10 or 12. I don't know. Once again, it was a very weird tactic he went for, going for that extractor, so he had 10 supply. Not a common build order, but it's enabled him to get out 6 lings pretty early and still take his expansion. So I guess it's something similar to, we'll say, an overpool. Alright, the bunker's not quite done. Uh-oh. We need to have SCVs blocking. Got 2 SCVs, 3 SCVs. So, alright, there we go. Bunker's done. So, now, yeah, alright. So usually in that situation where you have faster lings than the Marines can take on, you put your Marines at the top of the ramp and you block the ramp with SCVs. The Zerglings bug out while trying to attack the Marines, and the SCVs do their own damage in addition to the Marine damage, and you hold. In this situation, it looks like Piano was just going for a fast bunker at the bottom of the ramp, so we had that funny little dance. Once again, it messes up the ling pathing, especially with the Marines firing on them. But only a single SCV went down. It looks like a single SCV for a single Marine. Sorry, a single SCV for a single ling. So although that sounds like a slightly better trade for Hero, he did have to make the fast pool. So he gave up some to do that. But yeah, so let's see what else Hero has planned. So I guess I mentioned earlier, the map is going to be Circuit Breakers. Circuit Breakers is characterized by a reasonably easy to take third base that's close to your natural, but it's not a gas base, and it's really annoying if you don't take the high ground. There's the high ground right outside that third base, and it's such a weird position. I've seen a lot of players that they put their army on the high ground by the third base because you don't want to be on the low ground versus a person on high ground. But then if your opponent just goes into your natural, it's almost like you lose instantly. So maybe that's more of a Terran thing, that you have to worry about the positioning rather than versus a Zerg. But yeah, it's the high ground third, the high ground next to the third, it really changes the game, makes it interesting. And since it's mineral only, it's not even that important of a base. But alright, so we see double gas from the Zerg, 3 hatcheries. So double gas, you know, indicative of tech play, possibly heavy mutas, or maybe he's just going to tech. Of course, as a Zerg, you know, pretty much everyone in every matchup needs gas, but it's more of any indication of getting gas sooner just means you're doing whatever it is faster. You know, whether it's teching or, you know, going for a mid-game army. Terrans don't usually go for that much gas versus Zerg, unless they're going for the Wraiths, mainly because Marines are just mineral heavy, and you really don't need that many, you know, medics to go with them. Alright, so we have the Spire, pretty standard, single sunken colony in front of the main to, you know, just in case. It's probably not really needed, since Piano hasn't shown any indication of pushing out. But if he's going to be, you know, aggressive with the Lings, keep him at the front of the base, it's not a bad idea. Pretty sure those Lings had speed right there, which, once again, that's pretty common when going for Muta Ling. 5 racks, pretty fast. And fast +1. Looks like the mutas, by the time the mutas get there, the +1 will be done. So Piano is going for this is a pretty normal timing. I say normal. It's an aggressive push. Unfortunately, Mass Mutalisk versus 5 racks +1 Marines is not, I don't think, the proper counter. Usually you want to have lurkers against that. And the idea is with that +1, the Marines they do so much damage, and you're going to have so many of them that the mutas don't do too much. You really need the lurkers. And then, of course, the only problem for the Terran is that their tanks are going to be late, their vessels are going to be late. But I mean, against mutas, you don't really need to worry about that since you've got so many Marines. You can just, you know, push the Terran or the Zerg all the way back to their natural, and if the mutas don't come back, they lose everything. All right, but we'll see. Let's see. We got only 2 turrets in the main. It's not too many, but as long as he's got plenty of Marines that can come back and cover it, it should be fine. And he does have a ton of Marines. However, they're all at the front right now, so he needs to pull back. Alright, so there's some Marines. It looks like Hero must have messed up his Muta Micro. They really should have taken down the turret by now. And we have a fast Queen's Nest from Hero also. Alright, so we have alright, there's the Lurker Tech going down. Got the Queen's Nest. Got 11 mutas in the group, which is the number you want. The last spot in the group is for the Overlords that you can stack the mutas. Nice turret placement for that 3rd turret behind the mineral line. A lot of times that's where mutas like to just like camp, and you know, that's a really good place for sniping SCVs. Okay, really nice Overlord placement here. He's not seen by Piano, and he sees the army moving out. There's some Hydras at really, really odd-looking positions, just waiting for Lurker Aspect to finish so that they can transform into Lurkers. Like I said, it looks like they're just in really weird positions. Okay, maybe that was an Overlord. Alright, it looks like the Hydras that were going to the 3rd base retreated, and the 3rd base was cancelled and the drone was hidden at roughly the 7 o'clock position. Alright, so 4 Lings, possibly those same 4 Lings from earlier, have gone all the way past the Terran army, and yeah, they've gone all the way into the natural. He's going to do a little bit of counter harassment. Actually, there's a really, really nice wall of Sunkens, and the Lurkers are morphing. Alright, so it looks like Hero's going to be able to hold this pretty darn well, and the mutas are doing a pretty nice bit of counter damage. Alright, 1 Lurker goes down, 2 Lurkers go down, 3 Lurkers are going to go down. The last one, I think the last Lurker is under that Overlord, and so the Marines can't target it. Oh, that is so beautiful. Alright, the mutas come back, and they are going to clean up the rest of the Marines. I don't know if they had to do that, but it means he's going to lose a whole lot less. And the Lings, he must have rallied more Lings across. But the Lings are still doing damage in Piano's base. That was a really nice counterattack and defense from Hero here. But yeah, so the great thing about doing that, you know, straight line of Sunkens, he probably had the only reason he had the resource for it is he canceled his 3rd base, and he had all those extra drones at his natural. But yeah, the reason why it's so good is that all the, Sunkens naturally outrange Marines, even though Marines have that range upgrade. And there's the GG. But yes, but since all those Sunkens are in a line, they're all going to be able to fire on the Marines at once, which is just really, really good. You don't want, only, 3 of your 5 Sunkens firing at once. But alright, so here's going to tie up the score, 1-1, and we're going on to game number 3. See you there.